Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on our YouTube account and we are on 69-60. I want to go ahead and try to finish out this chapter in the entirety, unlock chapter 70. As we continue to get more chapters within the campaign progression, we want to make sure that we're starting to really build it up. Now, when it comes to campaign formations, when it comes to progression, it's incredibly difficult to know what teams to use in what scenario because there are so many variations on exactly what heroes you have built. Who has signature items? Do you have Draconic heroes? Do you have Awakened heroes? That is why it is very, very difficult to go through and just kind of blanket formation when it comes to building these out. This is why the formation, the ability to get formations in here are imperative. So what I do is looking through here is looking for a player that is roughly about my level. Now, right now I'm on 1018. I am significantly over leveled for where we are in the campaign formation. So even here, there's a 982 looking at Dr. Balthas. This is a little over at 1100, so definitely being a little bit over leveled. And also take note, when you're going through and you're looking at these formations, when you're looking at the heroes they have within these formations, do you have a lot of them? Again, depending on where you have them built, but also some of these can be incredibly old, meaning some of these formations might have a Thor and Cheese in there. You might see a couple of different default formations. Even there's the Awakened version of Thorin. There is Envy, so we know this is a significantly newer and we are over leveled formation. But I want to break down exactly these 5 formations that we're going to use in here and show you what it kind of looks like. Now, in the first formation, we do have the Awakened version of Shmiro, which is going to keep everyone alive even when they take fatal damage. We also do have Tamris. Now, Tamris in here is going to provide the enthusiasm buff, also going to provide an incredible amount of crowd control, putting everyone together. So Mahira, regardless of the level, Mahira can actually work incredibly well. The mesmerize effect will drop on there. The team will kill itself. And we also do have Lucilla, which if she dies, she comes back to life. And Liberta, which is still one of the absolute top heroes within AFK Arena. Then we have the Shroom Spooter. So this is actually going to provide some taunting in there. And we are going to try to get everyone to be stacked right in this back formation. Now, one thing to note with this, very similar to the Thor and Cheese, is there is a lot of RNG when it comes to this formation. See, Tamris right there just pulled everyone together. Even though we are a little bit over leveled, like I said, being able to go through this formation, there's our mesmerize effect. Boom, everyone starts killing themselves. It doesn't mean this formation is going to be super, super easy, just for the simple fact that we are over leveled. But I'm hoping we can go through Shroom Spooter, of course, with the pull, and we finished that one out pretty easy right there. Looking at the damage, this is where it gets interesting. The Awakened version of Shmira, 1 trillion damage. Even looking at Liberta, not too much. This is because a majority of the enemies just killed themselves. That's it. With that mesmerize effect, they have the ability to attack each other. With attacking each other, they kind of burned out their own formation or killed their own heroes while we were doing a lot of damage. Now, this is an old school formation, so this one has Ulna. If you're unfamiliar, Ulna with the 9 of 9 furniture will provide the other hero in the front line, which in this case is Demia with an immunity, meaning she is not going to die. Demia also provides an immunity to the entire team through the Mahira artifact. That means it keeps the team alive as well. Then you also have the buffing of Jerome. We have Belinda in here for damage. Jerome is also going to buff up Belinda significantly for the simple fact that she is a light bearer. And then Lavatoon is going to buff up everyone, do some decent damage. And then the Panda Dumpty is another one going to amplify the damage that we're doing in here, making this an ideal formation to burn through a lot of content very, very fast. The Awakened version of Belinda, guys, when it comes to campaign, probably one of the best performing heroes that we have seen within AFK Arena. It's kind of crazy how fast she can put out damage. And even there, she ulted. And I mean, you're talking probably 2, maybe 3 seconds later, we will see another ult from her. And right there it is. Burning through not even the burn effect that we have within the heroes themselves, but just the straight ability to ult over and over and over. And the Panda Dumpty right there did shield her from taking any damage. They actually hid her right in the back, only keeping Demia alive. Demia keeping the team alive, allowing Belinda to just burn this through. 1.29 trillion, 1.06 trillion. So even looking at the damage that Demia is, because of course, Demia cannot die in here because Ulna is keeping Demia alive, and it goes through really quick with this formation. I love the build. I love the Awakened version of Belinda in there. Looking at formation number 3, this is another one that's kind of cheesy because when you look here, you do have Aethys. Now, when it comes to crowd control, Aethys is probably one of the most broken tanks that we have, has the ability to literally shut down entire teams for the entire combat. We also do have Ivan in here. Now, Ivan from day one, since Ivan was introduced, super broken when it comes to any of the teams. And then Trishia is still in here. Now, a lot of players kind of question Trishia. Trishia provides energy regeneration for different heroes. Then we have Athalia in here, and it is, look, Awakened Athalia versus the regular Athalia. This is going to be a very interesting formation. Treat Spectator, of course, in here for a lot of different buffs up top. But I feel like we're going to be able to lock down a lot of the formations. And Athalia does such high burst damage. Now, even though she is not the number one, really carry all within AFK Arena, Envy has kind of taken that slot. She still has a crazy, crazy amount of utility in the formation. 2.79 trillion damage. And the reason is she can do damage so incredibly fast. It's kind of crazy. But also when you start looking at her, just because Envy is being used in a couple more places, that is just the power creep that we've seen through AFK Arena. At this point, she's well over a year old with the release, meaning that the newer heroes are coming with a much higher combat rating, making a big difference in this formation. And then, of course, when you have somebody like Ivan that can shield her, energy regeneration down here from Trishia, and then you do have Athalia in there for essentially the backup in the entirety. Damage can go through the roof very fast with this formation. So looking at formation team number four, this is Thorin. Now, this is a very interesting dynamic because we have Sheltir in here. Sheltir has the ability not only to do a lot of damage, but can die a multitude of times. The exact same thing is true with that awakened version of Thorin. Can die a ton of times. Nox is one that is very hard to kill. And then we have Lan in here as a buffer. We have Nyla in here as a crowd control kind of buffer. Then we also have the Slumbering Seal, which does a crazy amount of damage in this formation. The more alts we get, the more survivability that we have within this team will allow the Slumbering Seal to do a lot more damage in the formation, which is kind of the build. Now, traditionally, we use the original version of Thorin. Since we have the Awakened version all built, it will work very well. We have the plus 40 signature item, so he actually does ult right off the beginning. Slumbering Seal running around and then boosting all of the damage we're doing with this formation. So Thorin goes down, and as you can see, formation's already done. Looking in here, 300k, 348, 168. Slumbering Seal, 1.54 trillion damage. When you think about that, guys, you're talking 5x the majority of the damage that was done here. This is the reason we have said since the beginning the Slumbering Seal is literally the sixth hero within AFK Arena, is absolutely broken with the amount of damage that the Slumbering Seal does. That's a reason why even today the Slumbering Seal is the number one beast priority to build out all the way to 18 because the damage is there. And then we have Envy. This, of course, is one of the most recent heroes that we have within AFK Arena. The damage of Envy works and moves very similar to Lucretia, if you guys remember. And a lot of players even question, like, why do we have Namora in here? Namora possesses a Beguile ability. So Namora will come right out of the gate, will crowd control the original version of Thane. Thane will start attacking all of the enemies out of here, which is kind of broken. Kelthin is in here. Kelthin will provide a lot of crowd control. Shuna being built will trigger actually some of her abilities right off of the bat. Then we have Hildwyn in here. Hildwyn, even though he is a mage, provides a very strong support role, has a lot of defensive capabilities, a lot of shielding in here to keep Envy alive. And you'll notice really fast that Envy just teleports to the enemy side and starts destroying targets right off the bat. So there he goes, guys. Right there, Thane is charmed. So Thane is not doing any damage at all because looking in here, we had that charm ability that was up. We got the crowd control in here from the Ice Crown. And I believe this is going to be a defeat because Envy did die pretty early. But you can see the crowd control aspect. Now, Namora will also continue to cast that Beguile ability, meaning the team is killing themselves kind of one by one. I think this one is going to be a defeat, which it is. Envy has a very high, again, a pretty high RNG aspect that we see with the Awakened version of Thorin, because if he takes very high burst damage early, if the crowd control doesn't go off like it should, they're going to die out, and it's going to happen very early. We have to keep him alive. We have to be able to shield Envy, and getting him, really building him up a little bit higher is going to make a big difference to the survivability that he does have in here, which makes a big difference. I think, again, this is going to be another defeat. There is an RNG. This is why we have the auto battle. This is why you can go through these formations and you can just auto battle this essentially until it wins when you're going through a lot of different content. Right there, it looked like the crowd control was pretty good. Envy got to ult, which means we're going to win because Envy did ult right here in the middle. And that concludes chapter 69, guys. So looking here, 3.36 trillion damage. If you can get Envy to ult, it is going to do an incredible amount of damage. And of course, like I said, with the Ice Crown, providing a lot of crowd control in there. So looking at our next stage is going to move us into chapter 70, guys, which we have not seen yet. Let's go to the next chapter, and I'm thinking a lot of players are going to be into 70 already. So the Veiled Marketplace, the world map going into, boom, there is chapter 70. Very cool to see. So we're going to continue some progression in here a little bit later, hopefully on the live stream tomorrow. But as you can see, we are now done with 69. We are into 70. As we continue to add more chapters within AFK Arena, absolutely want to stay up and get to pushing levels within the campaign itself. So, all right, guys, so that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.